It's well known that the gaming industry is full of overhype. So much so that when an underhyped game releases and happens to be better than expected, gamers are in absolute awe. These type of gaming unicorns are hard to come by, especially with the heavy marketing campaigns that publishers run before releasing games. I'm Josh, and welcome to HotFix Gaming. We've compiled a list for you full of recent awesome games that surprised everyone. Let's get started. Number 10. Baldur's Gate 3. Looking at the game as it is now, aka incredibly successful, it seems hard to imagine that before its release, players and even devs didn't have high hopes for it. Developed by an indie studio, Larian Studios, many didn't think much of the game until it released and took the world by storm. It presents a grand narrative inspired by Dungeons & Dragons, offering players an immersive, choice-driven adventure that stands out in today's gaming landscape. Part of its charm is that it allows players the freedom to literally do what they want in-game. Want to romance a bear? You can do it. Become a wheel of cheese? Yeah, why not? Really, it can be anything you want it to be. In one of the most meticulously crafted, lavishly built games of 2023 or any year in recent memory, too much is never enough. Baldur's Gate is a game that people will be talking about for years to come. 9. Hogwarts Legacy. Despite a history of Harry Potter games, Hogwarts Legacy is a unique standout. Initially, controversy surrounded its announcement due to J.K. Rowling's involvement, sparking calls for boycotts that ultimately failed to materialize. However, upon launch, the game defied expectations, selling a staggering 12 million copies and generating $850 million in just 2 weeks, all before the PS4 and Xbox One versions were even released. Its rapid success can be attributed not only to its detailed portrayal of the Harry Potter universe, but also to the heightened attention garnered by the surrounding controversy. This controversy, rather than hindering the game's success, may have contributed to its massive sales within its initial weeks on the market. Number 8. Dave the Diver. Released initially on PC, then getting a Switch port, Dave the Diver is truly a hidden gem in the gaming world. Developed and published by Mint Rocket, this game combines elements of management, action-adventure, and role-playing. It is truly a delightful experience that somehow mixes roguelike spearfishing exploration and a time management sushi restaurant simulator into one of the most joyful games of recent times. The game is packed with different types of activities, and surprisingly, Dave the Diver's vast number of mechanics shouldn't work, but they somehow do. The shark meat of the game is capturing or hunting fish and aquatic life during the diving portions of the game, so that you can serve up your spoils for dinner at the sushi restaurant. But as the in-game days pass by, Dave the Diver will layer on things like a farm, a fish farm, yes, they're different things, upgrading weapons, and playing mini-games. Have you checked this game out yet? Number 7. Mad Max. Despite releasing in 2015, the very same year as the release of George Miller's masterful Mad Max Fury Road, Avalanche's entry into the Mad Max mythology is not a direct adaptation or spin-off. It is, however, a separate chapter in the legend of the preposterously named Max Rokitansky. Taking elements from the original trilogy of films and the newest entry alike, Mad Max places the player in a vast, hostile desert. True to form, Max's overarching goal is to simply get his car back from the even more preposterously named warlord, Scabrous Scrotus. The gameplay focuses on vehicular combat, a genre which has barely seen the light of day since the late 90s, and executes this with incredible style. Souped-up cars thunder across the wasteland, battling it out and exploding in showers of white-hot metal and gas, and the trail of destruction left behind is a sight to behold. Number 6. Lies of P. Co-developed and published by South Korea's NeoWiz Games, Lies of P offers a glimpse of grim, Belle Epoque-inspired fantasy world, putting players in the role of a more violent and complex version of Pinocchio in a unique twist on the age-old tale. Here, in the fictional city of Krat, P must find a way to save his creator Geppetto and stave off a mindless puppet revolution. Like other 2023 releases, Lies of P falls into the often infuriatingly difficult but generally beloved subgenre of Souls-like games, aka games whose combat and isolated somber atmosphere are reminiscent of Dark Souls series. And while its combat and tone could feel derivative at this point, Lies of P offers something fresh with its reinvention of the adventures of Pinocchio that adds to the mix a branching narrative driven by specific contextual moments rooted in P's unique role as the only puppet who can lie. It's all a lot cooler than it sounds. If you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to like and share it with your friends. Number 5. Hi-Fi Rush. Xbox and Bethesda kicked off 2023 strong with a needle drop during their Developer Direct showcase last January, simultaneously announcing and releasing a new rhythm game from Tango Gameworks titled Hi-Fi Rush. The studio, known previously for its work on horror titles like The Evil Within, stepped into new territory with the Shadow Drop, unveiling a candy-coated action combat game unlike anything they've created before. The narrative centers on Chai, a 25-year-old aspiring rock star who undergoes an experimental cybernetic limb replacement procedure offered by the questionable corporation Vandelay Technologies. As a result, he gains a super-powered robot arm and a music player implanted in his chest. What unfolds is a comical musical combat experience reminiscent of Devil May Cry set to a rhythmic beat. Hi-Fi Rush combines humorous elements, addictive rhythm-based gameplay, and precise pacing, drawing inspiration from genre-blending titles like Crypt of the Necrodancer and No Straight Roads. With its vibrant Saturday morning cartoon aesthetic and an amazing soundtrack, Hi-Fi Rush offers a unique gaming experience. Number 4. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. The Prince of Persia franchise has been facing stagnation in recent years. Despite its impressive beginnings with the groundbreaking 1989 game by Jordan Mechner, the reboot in 2003, titled The Sands of Time, revitalized the series with its beloved action and attitude, leading to several successful sequels. However, the franchise has since been overshadowed by its spiritual successor, Assassin's Creed. In an attempt to revive the series, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown returns to its two-dimensional run and jump roots, departing from the continuity established by The Sands of Time. This bold move has paid off for Ubisoft, as the newest Prince of Persia title emerges as a remarkable achievement in 2D action platforming, earning the title of 2024's first must-play video game, as long as you're willing to take on its sometimes excruciating level of difficulty. Number 3. RoboCop: Rogue City. Honestly, Teon can keep on doing whatever it is that it's doing. After surprising the world with a humble yet entertaining Terminator game in 2019, the studio has turned to RoboCop for its next lovably middle-shelf game based on an iconic 80s movie. Rogue City is exactly the kind of production we got with Terminator Resistance. It's not visually dazzling or dripping in complex mechanics, but that's okay. It's just a very playable, very enjoyable game. It's hard not to have a great time when bullets are pinging off you and you're throwing explosive motorbikes at goons, all while that classic movie theme plays in the background. RoboCop: Rogue City may not boast the high production quality of a top AAA video game, but it's more fun and shows more sincerity than most of them put together. What it lacks in polish, it more than makes up for in its provision of fuss-free action with immensely satisfying weaponry alongside the occasional glimmer of witty writing. It's nowhere near as beautifully satirical as the film from which it sprung, but it's still made with clear love for the original, as well as a ton of sincerity. Number 2. Mario & Rabbids: Kingdom Battle. What happens when you take gaming's most beloved mascot and pair him with gaming's most irritating, obnoxious army of screeching sidekicks? And what happens when you pair them in a game whose genre is completely alien to both franchises? Somehow, you aren't greeted with the stream of diarrhea one would expect from such ludicrous choices. Instead, you're treated to Mario plus Rabbids: Kingdom Battle, an incredible, well-executed turn-based tactical RPG. The gameplay itself is deep and well-balanced, requiring a lot of thoughtful strategy, but featuring special abilities such as bouncing off teammates to deal damage and traverse the battleground. The game's design is dripping with visual personality throughout, and its beautifully animated cutscenes convey a lot of satisfying physical comedy. The Mario-Rabbid hybrid characters are nothing short of genius in their portrayal, and of course you get to shoot Rabbids in the face with a shotgun. What more could you ask for? Number 1. Dead Island 2. The biggest adventure for Dead Island 2 happened well before it was released. Enduring years of tumultuous development, the project changed hands between various developers and publishers until it eventually found its home with Deep Silver PlayOn. With a significant investment and the efforts of Dambuster Studios, they defied expectations and delivered a final version of the game that can only be described as a divine intervention on Earth. All that laborious history pushed aside, it is great to confirm that Dead Island 2 is not only a finished product in store shelves and digital marketplaces, but an otherwise enjoyable open-world romp through the post-apocalyptic streets of a zombie-infested Los Angeles. While it's still up to debate the logic of the game's name since it takes place on a continental city rather than an island, Everything else about Dead Island 2 is razor sharp in terms of design, a far cry from the first few entries in this series. Which games have surprised you? Let us know your favourites in the comment section below. And if you want more gaming content, make sure to check out our 10 terrible video games launched that were able to bounce back video, and our top 10 hidden gems of 2023 that you should play. Both videos are linked on screen.